개발자 컨퍼런스 유나이트 서울 2015를 시작하겠습니다. 먼저 이렇게 이른 시간임에도 불구하고 컨퍼런스 저희 유나이트 서울 2015에 참석해 주신 여러분들께 진심으로 감사의 인사를 전합니다. 오늘 이 시간이 정말 여러분들에게 유익한 시간이 되시길 바랍니다. 먼저 유니티 코리아 지사장인 양홍영 대표님을 무대 위로 모셔 오프닝을 열도록 하겠습니다. 여러분 큰 박수로 맞아주시기 바랍니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 저 유니티 코리아 지사장 양홍영입니다. 오늘 영어로 좀 얘기하겠습니다. I just want to thank you. Thank you to all the people that are here. Thank you to your belief and your support and unity. Because of you, unity exists. And we're all very grateful for each and every one of you. We started this event 4 years ago. Anybody here join us in 2011? Okay, I know this is kind of 좀 어색합니다. 이해해요. 저도 어색합니다. But in the 4 years, we want to support you and we want to see you grow. And Korea is an important market. Just thank you. And there's a lot of special people here visiting from Britain, Finland, Denmark, Canada, America. And just get to know all of us. And we want to get to know all of you. And my next is, I'm so happy to be introducing the founder of Unity, David Helgason, for making this all possible. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for making it out. It's really wonderful to be here. Of course, this is the third or fourth night in Korea, and I was here a year ago last, and it's great to be back. It's great to see so many of you here. It's the most we've had at Unite Korea so far. I think we sold 1,700 tickets, which is amazing. So the last year that's gone since we met here, a lot of things happened. Unity did a lot of things, and a lot of things happened in the industry. The world's changed, as it always does every year, and Unity has worked very hard to keep up with the world and to be part of the changing world, to be part of your changing lives. The things I'm going to talk about today are mostly what we've been working on. Show you some of the new things in Unity, talk about some of the ways that we want to work with you, and let's just get started, really. So the really big thing that happened in the last year is, of course, Unity 5. We released it around 6 weeks ago today, and I'm sure many of you are using it already. Actually, how many people are using Unity 5? You should download it. It's awesome. It's the most amazing product that we've ever released. I can really say that with certainty. It's so full of amazing things, right? And when we look at sort of what's changed in Unity, we come down to these kind of 4 areas, right? It's the incredible graphics. It's the richness of the features and the flexibility of the editor, and the way that Unity serves as a platform for you to kind of build your things on top of. It's the industry-leading multi-platform support, which, by the way, is ridiculous. The number of platforms we can support is just incredible, and it lets you get the freedom to move between all the platforms that you need to be supporting, and gives you this flexibility that we think is so important. And the last thing is something pretty new for us is that we've been building products in the cloud that let you be more productive than ever before, and help you make more money than ever before. And I'll talk about all these things separately in the next hour and a bit. But Another big thing that happened with Unity 5 was that we changed our business model. Actually, the first big change in business model, you might say, for many years. So the professional edition, it's still awesome. It has all the features of Unity 5, right? It also includes a team license, so every one of you could be working more effectively, collaboratively. It has access to betas and previews. This is the first time we make that real commitment, that by being a user of Unity Pro, you get access to our betas as we work on them, early access. It also has some of the new cloud services that I'll talk about later. So Unity Cloud Build Pro, Unity Analytics Pro, the performance monitoring, which is still in preview, but it's awesome. Actually, I should tell you what it is. It basically helps you keep track of crashes, performance problems with your games in the field. It's, like I said, in preview, but the people who have been starting using it are loving it. It's such a useful tool to see what's going on in the field. It also has something we call Level 11, which lets you get free stuff from the asset store every month. An incredible amount of value, basically. And all this stuff is the same price as Unity 4, so we didn't add anything. And it has no royalties, which we think is very important, because royalties are such a drag on your business. This is pretty much as before, just better with these cloud services. Now, the really big difference is the personal edition. We used to have this free edition before, which was very limited, and I know many of you were using it. It can be pretty frustrating to see all the good stuff that is part of Unity, but you don't have access to it. So with personal edition now, you have all of it. All the features from Unity Pro, everything from 5, all the powerful features, all the new features, it's all there, right? And it's completely free, and there's also no royalties. And you know, after working so hard at Unity for so many years, it's really, really cool that we can now finally just let it go. Everyone can use it. Everyone has the same features. It's really magical. So I hope you really enjoyed that. And what are these features? Well, let's take a look. The incredible graphics, I think, is one of the most important things. There's three sort of really big areas in Unity 5 that are improved or new. There's physically based rendering. There is the real-time global illumination with geomerics, this incredible piece of technology that we licensed from ARM. And finally, reflection probes that lets you react to the changes in the environment in a real-time way. So each of these is a huge system and very, very cool by itself, but when you put them together, you can make results like this, or this, right? And not just possibly make it, but it's actually relatively easy to make it, because it becomes so natural to work with this kind of reality-based rendering. That this was all done by one guy. It was just experimenting and putting it together kind of by himself. We put together a 3-person team to sort of experiment with the graphics in Unity 5, and it's one of my favorite things. I'm going to show you a video. It's a couple of minutes long. It's absolutely awesome. effort to be able to put software like this in the hands of. Actually, by the way, the newest number is that we calculated that just over 1 million people, developers, used Unity in the last month. So it's a lot of people that have access to this, which is completely new and unprecedented. Now, Unity 5 has been a project that took probably approximately 2 years of hard work by some of the smartest people I've ever met. And as we started, getting into sort of closer to release, we realized that we needed to have testers. We needed to work with people to really put it through the motions and see how it worked in real sort of scale productions. So we were really lucky to have one of my really good friends, Payton of Camouflage Studios, who released the Republic game a while ago, adopt Unity 5 very early and put it through the motions. Stub their toes along, till a lot of early problems, but work with us on fixing them and be part of what making Unity 5 as great as it could be. So Ryan is here, and he's actually going to tell us a bit about the adoption of Unity 5 by his studio. Sorry, Ryan.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, big thanks to David and to John and to William and the whole team here for having me. It's a great honor to be speaking with you this morning. All right, so this is our game. It's called Republic, and I work at a studio called Camouflage. We're in the Seattle area, and we've been going for about 3.5 years now. The team is about 25 or 30 people, and you might remember me. I was here about 2 years ago doing Unite, and at the time, Republic was not released. And now I'm happy to say that Republic, the first 3 episodes of the game are now available. Not yet in Korea though, but we hope to fix that. So when I was here 2 years ago, I talked about how big games and how story-driven games, these were a big inspiration for us. And I also talked about how Unity just basically liberated our company and our studio and myself as a creator, because it allows small teams like ours to create really big projects, things that we couldn't do even a few years ago with a smaller team. We'd have to work at a really big company. So recently we brought the game to, we started off on iOS and Android, and we've recently brought the game to PC and Mac. And the big killer feature for the game, when we brought the game to PC and Mac, we called it Republic Remastered. And the big killer feature of the game on that platform is Unity 5. So before I go into my talk, which is going to be more about how we move the game from Unity 4 to Unity 5 and the challenges and the successes of that, let's first look at the trailer of our game, Republic.
Tonight, I tell my own story.
Good evening, citizens of Metamorphosis. As we make our final preparations, we must be extra vigilant. Keep a watchful eye out for our Republic. And in return, she will watch over you.
Please, I need your help. I don't have much time. You do that. They're right there.
How about you start in your cage?
I play you have not doomed us all, child.
Don't trust anybody, not even me. The girl's infected. Taking her to calibration.
It is a secret between you and I.
They're coming. Let go. Please, stay with me.
Who is this? What do they know about our Republic? There was no need for that. This one, I believe, will go quietly.
Yeah, that's a product of a lot of people, a lot of hard work, so thank you. So, as you can tell, our game is a story-driven stealth action game. We released the game episodically. We have the first 3 episodes out, as I mentioned. And a big part of the game that we wanted to do, especially because we came out on smartphones at the beginning, is we wanted to have the player have a connection with our hero, Hope, via the smartphone. And so, yeah, the game is very much a story-driven experience. And so, for us, we believe that stories can change people, that they have a powerful effect on people. And in fact, I don't have to convince anybody here in Korea that the power of storytelling. In fact, my mother-in-law is obsessed with Korean television dramas. So the episodic nature is something that I know that's a big part of your DNA. But for us, it's not just about telling stories, and it's not just about giving people pure just entertainment. It's about doing something that's meaningful. So our game, as you can kind of get a hint from the trailer, it's about surveillance, it's about security, it's about censorship, and it's about just how technology is affecting people in the world these days. And so that's really important for me because I feel as a creator, I only have a handful of games that I can create before I'm dead. And so I want to make sure that whatever we create is something that is meaningful and that lasts with people for a while. So the second thing is, that's important to us as a studio, is that we are touching as many people around the world as possible. And so this is one of the reasons why we decided to go with Unity early on, is because of the multi-platform support, is that we don't have to tie ourselves to one platform or just a handful of platforms. But honestly, by the end of next year, I really hope to be on the vast majority of the platforms that David's been talking about. And the only reason is, well, one is to bring more revenue in there so we can make more games, but also so we can touch as many people across the planet as possible. And why is that? Why is that important? Some of you might know that I had the great privilege of working at Konami in Tokyo on a game called Metal Gear Solid 4. It's a huge production, and it was a great honor to be on that. And one of the sad things, though, is that the game primarily just sells in North America, Japan, and a few countries in Europe. And I always felt it was sad because we're working so hard on these stories and the gameplay, and it would only be experienced by a few million people around the world. And similarly, when I left Konami and I went back to Seattle and I started working for Microsoft as a director on Halo 4, I was told to create a story for an international audience. And I had to kind of do that and say, yes, I'll do that, even though I knew that about 90% of my players would only be in North America and in the United Kingdom. They would be about 30 years old, and they would be male, and they would be speaking English. And to me, that was very disheartening as well. As a huge franchise like Halo, I think we're kind of joking and kidding ourselves that it's a really international property. So this is why I left Microsoft to start our studio, Camouflage, to bring a console-like experience, story-driven experience, to smartphone devices, and then to PC, to touch as many people around the world as possible. So the reason that we chose Unity, as I talked about, was the multi-platform support. The other thing was the flexibility that it provided. So our game, as you can tell, is about the communication with Hope. And we wanted to be the first game on the planet that really drove the facial performance, that kind of one-to-one experience that you have with our hero. And from there, we've really hitched our wagon to Unity, meaning that we fully get behind any new feature that they come up with, whether it's Unity Cloud Build, the 64-bit editor, the profiler, basically anything that they'll give us, we'll put into the game because we're big believers in the technology. All right, so we're going to transition a little bit into this kind of transition. This is our game in Unity 4. I have to be honest, I'm pretty proud of what we're able to achieve even in Unity 4. I think it's quite beautiful, especially on smartphones, on Android and iOS devices. So as we decided to go to PC and Mac, we knew that we had a big problem on our hands, is that this would not be enough for the demanding gaming experiences that PC and Mac users are looking for. So, as David mentioned, we approached the Unity folks and we got into the early beta, and we decided to start learning a little bit more about Unity 5 and the physically based shader and Enlighten. And yeah, I'll show you now what the game looks like in Unity 5. And you can tell it's a dramatic difference. This is really in large part due to the physically based shader, what we did with the environment and the characters that gives the game an extreme degree of realism. Here's a screenshot from episode 2. This was what we released about a year ago on Android and iOS. This is in Unity 4. And one of the things we had to do when we were creating this as our artists in Seattle, when we were creating this in Unity 4, a lot of it was done by hand and by looking and trying to figure out what looks real and what doesn't. So the beautiful thing about Unity 5 is that that Enlighten and the physically based shader gives you real-world properties. It's based on real, true-to-life, physical-based properties. So when we put the big central light source in the top of the solarium in Unity 5, it beautifully, automatically, true-to-life lights the scene as it would in real life, meaning our artists don't have to fake what the environment would look like. And this actually saves a lot of time in the process of developing our game. Here's a screenshot from Unity 4, from episode 3 that we released last October. And we really challenged the team to create as big of a model as possible. This is a thing we're calling Terminus. It's kind of like a evil server that you'll get to know more about in the future when we release the final 2 episodes of our game. But this is the game now in Unity 4, and what it looks like in Unity 5, you can see again, like the lighting is a lot more natural, especially on the hard surfaces, like on that server that we call Terminus. Now, before we decided to invest all this time and money into bringing the game to Unity 5, we first decided to do a very quick, but took about a week, investigation to just take one room from Unity 4 into Unity 5. And I'm going to show you what that looked like. This is the product of about 3 artists, 1 programmer, and this is what we did in about 5 work days. You can see the Unity 4 on the left and the Unity 5 on the right. You can see the reflections on the floor. This was just a really quick demo, and that's something that we as a team created, and yeah, we're just really, that showed us that, yeah, this is definitely worth it, we need to do this. So finally, to kind of wrap up my part of the presentation, I want to talk a little bit about the future. So for my company, for Camouflage, we're finishing the final 2 episodes. We're about to sign a very special deal with the company to help us bring the game to more platforms and to more countries, including Korea. Which I'd really love for you guys to play our game. And we're going to continue to push the physically based shader and Enlighten throughout this year, and into the next, obviously. For us, I have to decide, and the team has to decide what we're going to create next. Are we going to do a sequel to Republic and really push mobile again, really hard? To be honest, I'm really inspired by the action RPGs that are gaining a lot of popularity and success in Korea. Maybe we move the game from stealth action to action RPG, I'm not quite sure. We have a deal right now with a company called Shinra, which is a supercomputer streaming powered service, and we're creating a prototype for them right now that's due at the end of this year. So maybe we make a game in a supercomputer, we're not sure. We're also very interested in VR. Palmer Luckey will be here tomorrow to talk about all the amazing successes that Oculus has had. Maybe our team is very passionate about VR, maybe we do a VR game. But whatever we do, it doesn't really matter to me as long as it's high quality and we're touching as many people as possible. Which brings me back to 2011 when we decided to take a chance on this up-and-coming engine called Unity, Unity 3.0 at the time. And it enabled us to create the high-quality experience we want to do as an independent team and push it to as many platforms as we possibly could. And I honestly believe that if it wasn't for Unity and the hardworking folks there and that technology, that Camouflage as a company probably would not exist today. So that's why I felt it's very important that we give back to the community and give back to Unity. So on the Unity homepage, you'll see this thing called the Journey to Unity 5. It's only in English, so if you have some coworkers who are bilingual, definitely ask them for some help. But what this is a chronological order of 5 chapters, 5 episodes, if you will, of us going from Unity 4 to Unity 5. It details all the technical documentation of us moving the game into physically based shading, into Enlighten, using the reflection probes. There's 5 videos, there's 5 blogs, and there's 5 podcasts. The first of 2 of those are very good. I encourage you to check those out. And then finally, what we're very excited to announce today is that come early next week, we will be giving back to the community via a free Republic Unity 5 project file. it's one thing to hear me talk about Unity 5. It's one thing to read the blogs and the podcast and watch the videos and listen to the podcasts. It's a whole other thing to get your hands dirty and actually experience what Unity 5 can do and how we pushed it really hard with Republic. So please, starting next week, go to the asset store for free and download a slice of Republic and Unity 5. We're giving that out to the community, so please enjoy it. And with that, I'd like to introduce what he likes to refer to as the Master of Dungeon 999. His name is Vu Quan, and he's going to be giving you a demonstration of the Republic Unity 5 project file. Come on up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, if you ever have any questions or you want to tell me what you think about my presentation, my email address is there. Please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much, and good luck.
Yeah. 안녕하세요. 네, 방금 전에 소개를 받은 던전 999라는 게임 만들었지만 유니티에서 근무하고 있는 지북한이라고 합니다. 만나서 반갑습니다. 노래가 또 나와서 좀 그렇긴 한데, 근데 사실은 행사를 시작하기 전에 말했어야 되는데 오늘이 세월호 사건이 있었던 지 1주년이 딱 되는 날이더라고요. 그러니까 오늘 행사도 행사인데 다들 시간 나시면은 지금은 좀 원래 좋은 곳에서 좀 있어야 될 아이들을 생각하면서 운영을 좀 하시면 어떨까라는 생각이 들고요. 어쨌든 뭐 행사에서 이런 얘기를 해서 분위기를 망치면 안 되는데 분위기를 망친다기보다는 꼭 해야 될 얘기 같은 거 하고 진행을 했고요. 어쨌든 유나이트라는 행사에 다들 와주셔서 굉장히 감사합니다. 저 같은 경우에는 유니티 입사하고 나서 이제 벌써 3번째 유나이트인데요. 유나이트 같은 경우에는 개인적으로 굉장히 저한테 큰 의미가 있는 행사라서 여러분들도 유나이트를 통해서 많은 경험을 좀 하셨으면 좋겠다는 얘기를 아직 안 했어요. 잠시만요. 원래 맨 처음에 제가 유나이트를 참여했을 때는 저는 사실은 유니티라는 걸 전혀 몰랐었어요. 그러니까 유니티가 뭐 하는 건지도 잘 몰랐고 이게 게임 엔진이라는 건 전혀 몰랐는데, 그리고 심지어 개발자도 아니고 프로그래머도 아니고 디자이너가 왔었거든요. 디자이너였기 때문에 유나이트라는 행사가 있다더라라고 해서 왔는데, 생각보다 유나이트라는 행사를 계기로 이제 유니티라는 것에 대한 정보를 알게 되고 유니티에 대한 공부를 이제 시작을 하게 되고, 어쩌다 보니 유니티 게임을 또 만들어 보게 돼서 어쩌다 보니 또 유니티로 책도 내게 되더라고요. 그 다음에 유니티에 입사까지 하게 됐는데, 지금 유니티를 만든 저런 데이브 헬가슨 같은 분이랑 같이 키노트도 하게 돼가지고 거의 유나이트라는 행사에 참여했던 것 자체가 제 인생에 되게 큰 전환점이었다고 볼 수가 있을 것 같은데, 여기 오신 여러분들도 유나이트라는 이 행사가 그냥 간단한 컨퍼런스뿐만으로 여겨지지 않고 여러분들의 인생에서 좀 큰 전환점이 되는 행사가 되면 어떨까라는 말씀드리고 싶습니다. 제가 사실은 키노트를 그렇게 길게 할지 몰랐는데 길게 하는 분을 나와서 가장 긴장을 하고 있어가지고 시작을 하도록 할게요. 제가 오늘 간단하게 기술적으로 대본 보여드릴 거는 방금 전에 라이언이 말해준 유니티 5에 대한 글로벌 일루미네이션이라든지 아니면 리프레션 프로필 이런 되게 파워풀한 그래픽 향상되는 것들을 보여드리려고 합니다. 일단 아까 라이언이 말한 것처럼 이제 이 프로젝트는 액세스토어에 공개가 될 거기 때문에 여러분들이 나중에 보시면은 굉장히 어떤 식으로 그래픽 퀄리티를 높게 올릴 수 있는가를 직접 경험해 보실 수가 있을 거예요. 저희가 이제 새로 추가된 라이트 프로라든지 글로벌 일루미네이션이라든지 이런 기능들을 활용해가지고 할 수가 있는데, 이 데모로 가지고서 제가 이렇게 디테일한 프로세스를 보여드리기는 약간 힘들 것 같아서 제가 따로 이런 프로세스를 설명하기 위한 데모를 준비했어요. 그래서 한번 그걸 같이 보시면 될 것 같습니다. 그래서 제가 준비한 프로젝트는 이 프로젝트인데요. 이 프로젝트 역시 여러분들 유니티 액세스토어에 가시면 무료로 다운받으실 수 있을 겁니다. 지금 보시면 이 화면이 새까맣게 나오는데 원래 새까만 거니까 에러 난다 이런 건 생각 안 하셔도 되고, 제가 여기다가 유니티 5의 그런 글로벌 일루미네이션이라든지 라이트 프로라든지 그런 것들을 이용해서 화면에 하나씩 어떤 식으로 그래픽 퀄리티를 좋게 향상시킬 수 있을지 설명을 해드리도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 일단 씬이 어떻게 생겼는지 좀 알아야 되기 때문에 기본적으로 라이트를 이렇게 포그를 먼저 열어주도록 할게요. 카메라에 들어가서 포그를 살짝 열어주면은 실제로는 이런 오브젝트들이 지금 씬 안에 존재를 하고 있습니다. 그래서 뎁스에 따라서 이제 구름 처리를 할 수 있기 때문에 여기 구름 처리를 하게 되었고, 그래서 이제 여기다가 기본적으로 라이트를 몇 가지를 켜보도록 할게요. 이쪽을 살짝 켜주고 이쪽에 있는 라이트 켜주고 이쪽에 있는 라이트 살짝 이런 식으로 일단 먼저 사실 여기까지는 유니티 4랑 뭐 별다른 차이는 없어요. 왜냐면은 그냥 라이팅을 하나씩 켰다 뿐이지 그래픽적으로 뭐 5가 4보다 좋다라는 뭐 그런 얘기를 할 수가 없기 때문에 그래서 이제 추가된 여러 가지 기능들을 설명을 드리면은 이제 렌더 세팅이라는 메뉴가 없어지고 라이팅이라는 메뉴가 이제 새롭게 추가가 됐습니다. 새롭게 추가된 건 아니고 원래 라이트 맵을 굽는다거나 그런 용도로만 썼었는데 이제 라이팅이라는 곳에 들어가셔서 이제 환경에 대한 세팅을 다 하실 수가 있어요. 그래서 전반적으로 신의 밝기를 조절했을 때부터 이런 이걸 올려놓고 나서 이제 GI라고 글로벌 일루미네이션을 계속 말하는데 이게 사실은 어떤 개념이냐면은 저희가 이런 실제로 현존하는 오브젝트들을 볼 때 보면은 딱 그 오브젝트의 색깔로 보이는 거라기보다는 빛을 받아 색 변화를 하게 되거든요. 예를 들면 얼마 전에 되게 논란이 됐던 얼마 전까지 좀 되긴 했는데 검정 파란 드레스랑 흰색 골드 드레스를 다 하실 거예요. 그래서 사실 제가 던지면은 대충이라고 대답을 해주시면은 발표할 때 상당히 많이 힘이 됩니다. 그러니까 한 번씩이라도 그냥 얘라고 정말 마음 없는 소리라도 해주시면 감사하니까. 그런 거 보셨죠? 네. 감사합니다. 그런 게 있어가지고 어쨌건 그 현장에서도 느끼셨겠지만 라이팅에 따라서 정말 오브젝트들이 많이 바뀌게 됩니다. 색깔이 실제 색깔이 아닌 것보다 예를 들면 하얀색 공을 가지고 이게 여러분들이 뭐 클럽을 자주 가시는 분들이 많을 텐데 흰옷을 입고 가면 클럽을 보면 파란색으로 보이는 경우가 있어요. 물론 저는 정말 안 갑니다만 여러분들 중에 많이 가시는 분들 아마 그런 이빨도 되게 파랗게 보이는 경우도 있고 이러잖아. 그런 것들이 사실 글로벌 일루미네이션 효과라고 할 수 있을 것 같은데 유니티 5에서는 이제 글로벌 일루미네이션이라는 게 내장이 되어있기 때문에 이런 것들을 조절하면은 굉장히 자연스럽게 주변 오브젝트들이 자신의 색깔을 서로 반사를 시키면서 원래 의도했던 것보다 굉장히 부드러운 자연광을 만들어줄 수가 있습니다. 이런 것들을 조절할 수가 있고 그리고 다음으로 이제 사실은 빛만 반사해서는 그 현재랑 되게 실제랑 비슷하다는 느낌이 내기 굉장히 힘들 수가 있어요. 그래서 더 중요한 건 리플렉션이라고 생각을 하고요. 사실 주변에 있는 오브젝트들이 은근슬쩍 모든 오브젝트에 비치고 있습니다. 여러분들의 안경을 볼 때도 안경에 그냥 주변에 있는 빛만 비치는 게 아니라 앞에 있는 사람이 비칠 때도 있고요. 선글라스 같은 경우는 굉장히 심하게 주변에 있는 모든 것들을 비추기도 하죠. 그런 것들을 비추기 위해서 이제 리플렉션 개념도 저희가 쉽게 컨트롤할 수 있는데 여기에 보시면은 기본적으로 들어있는 스카이 박스를 유니티 5를 실행해보신 분들은 아실 텐데 기본적으로 이런 스카이 박스가 세팅이 되어 있습니다. 저희가 이런 리플렉션을 조절하면은 스카이 박스의 리플렉션을 저희가 수동으로 굉장히 편하게 조작을 할 수 있다는 점이 유니티 5의 큰 장점이라고 할 수가 있고요. 유니티 5의 사실은 이게 다른 엔진이랑 비교했을 때 뭐가 좋은 거냐라고 다른 것도 이 정도는 되지 않나 뭐 이런 식으로 얘기할 수가 있는데 유니티의 가장 큰 장점 중에 하나는 이 모든 데이터가 베이킹 된다는 거죠. 쉽게 말하면 굽는다고 하는데요. 이게 굽는다는 게 무슨 의미냐면은 이 실시간으로 계속 이런 리플렉션이라든지 라이팅을 처리하면은 퍼포먼스가 굉장히 떨어져요. 그렇기 때문에 유니티 칩의 장점이 그 모바일에서 돌아간다는 모바일 특화된 엔진이라는 그런 것들이 퍼포먼스가 최대가 될 수가 없기 때문에 이 베이킹 시스템을 이용해서 저희가 이렇게 세팅을 해보면은 그것들을 미리미리 이미지용으로 다 만들어 놓고 실제로 게임을 동작하고 있는 동안에는 연산 처리가 굉장히 빠른 속도로 이루어질 수 있게 만들어져 있습니다. 한번 실제로 간단한 이런 좀 한번 플레이를 해보시면요. 돌아가는데 사실 굉장히 저런 라이팅이라든지 이런 것들이 그림자라든지 이런 것들이 뜨는데도 프레임 저하라든지 그런 현상이 전혀 발생하지 않고 나오는 것을 알 수가 있어요. 그래서 사실 아직 이건 끝이 아니고 계속적으로 지금 진행을 할 거기 때문에 봐주시면 될 것 같습니다. 그 다음으로는 사실 이제 라이팅을 전반적으로 세팅을 했으니까 물체마다 약간 비추는 것들을 만들어 볼까요? 이제 유니티 5에 추가된 굉장히 강력한 기능 중에 하나가 이제 리플렉션 프로브라는 개념입니다. 리플렉션 프로브라는 건 뭐냐면은 라이트 프로브라는 개념은 이미 4에서 사용이 됐었죠. 그러니까 씬에 뿌려지는 모든 라이팅을 각각의 포인트에다가 베이킹을 해서 그 점에 있는 빛의 데이터만 가지고 쓴다는 건데 리플렉션 프로브 같은 경우는 한 개의 공간을 만듭니다. 이 방으로 치면은 저 방을 저희가 사진을 찍는 거예요. 카메라 6개를 이용해서 탑뷰를 찍고 바닥을 찍고 뭐 왼쪽 오른쪽 앞이랑 뒤를 다 찍어서 그걸 하나의 큐브 맵으로 만들어줍니다. 그런 베이킹된 큐브 맵을 오브젝트에 적용을 시키면은 마치 그 오브젝트가 실제로 그 공간에서 마치 모든 것들을 반사하고 있는 것 같은 느낌을 줄 수가 있는데요. 보시죠. 그래서 리플렉션 프로브라는 거를 살짝 켜주면은 방금 전과는 약간 다른 걸 느끼실 수가 있어요. 그래서 이게 사실은 작년에 제가 레나이트를 하면서 PBR 2 써본 사실 제가 유니티 5가 작년에 나올 줄 알았거든요. 결국 올해까지 이렇게 시간 끌게 됐는데 어찌되었건 그 작년 설명드린 PBR이랑 비슷하게 이런 메탈릭이라든지 스무스니스 등을 이용하면은 방금 전에 제가 적용한 리플렉션 프로브를 좀 더 극대화하고 좀 사실적인 재질을 나타내는 데 많은 도움이 될 거라고 생각하고 있습니다. 쉽죠? 네, 대답을 부탁드렸는데 죄송합니다. 항상 이런 식인 것 같더라고요. 그래서 나와서 좀 긴장을 풀려고 해도 긴장이 풀리지가 않아요. 그러니까 여러분들께서 그냥 영혼 없는 소리라도 저는 굉장히 감사하게 생각하고 있으니까 영혼 없이 내라고 던져주시면 되겠습니다. 던져주실 거죠? 네. 감사합니다. 근데 엎드려 별볼게 같은데 항상 행사를 하면 이렇게 되더라고요. 네, 엎드려 절반하게 습관이 돼가지고 이런 식으로 각 오브젝트마다 리플렉션 프로브를 이렇게 베이킹을 제가 미리 다 해두었고요. 이 리플렉션 프로브가 베이킹 됐지만 이게 실제로 사실 3D 맥스라든지 마야 같은 거 써보신 분들 아실 텐데 이렇게 리플렉션이 들어오면 렌더링하는데 굉장히 시간이 많이 걸리는데도 불구하고 유니티 5를 쓰시면은 이 모든 것들이 실시간으로 그리고 심지어 모바일에서 돌아갈 수 있을 정도의 퀄리티가 나오기 때문에 걱정하지 않고 남발하셔도 될 것 같다라고 얘기 드릴 수 있을 것 같아요. 플레이해보면 아까랑 같이 다른 조금 뭐 속도가 느려지는지 그런 생각은 거의 사실 뭐 PC니까 당연하겠지라고 생각하실 수도 있는데 충분히 모바일로도 가능할 것 같고 이상을 하고 있어요. 그래서 지금 움직이는 오브젝트들 같은 경우에는 제가 다 적용을 해놨어요. 그래서 지금 멈춰있는 오브젝트를 보시면은 이런 기둥 같은 것들을 보시면은 아직까지 글로벌 일루미네이션이라든지 뭐 리플렉션이라든지 그런 것들이 먹지 않고 오브젝트 자체에 검은색만 지금 적용되어 있는 것을 알 수가 있습니다. 이 오브젝트들한테도 리플렉션 프로브를 제가 적용을 해요. 리플렉션 프로브를 일단 액티브를 시켜놓고서 지금 이 오브젝트들을 선택을 해보시면은 오브젝트 선택을 해서 보시면은 리플렉션 프로브가 5%로 되어 있는 것을 보실 수가 있어요. 5% 되어 있는 것들을 심플로 이렇게 바꿔주시면은 바로 아까 제가 베이킹을 해놨던 미리 베이킹을 해놨던 이런 오브젝트들이 바로 오브젝트 그런 저 기둥들의 반사 효과를 주면서 좀 더 이 씬이 굉장히 자연스럽게 연출되는 것을 느끼실 수가 있습니다. 그래서 여기서 다시 뭐 GI를 조정하시면서 씬의 밝기를 조절할 수도 있고요. 물론 이런 것들이 저희가 조절하는 순간 바로 베이킹이 되기 때문에 여러분들이 추후에 이걸 다 하고 이게 베이킹을 해야 되나 안 해야 되나 그런 걱정을 따로 하지 않으셔도 될 것 같습니다. 그냥 이런 식으로 심플하게 사용을 할 수가 있고요. 그 다음으로 제가 몇 가지 보여드릴 것 같은 거는 이런 게 하고 있어요. 이 베이킹 된다는 게 어떤 장점이 있냐면은 저희가 게임을 만들다 보면 디자이너분들이 여기가 좀 어두운 것 같으니까 여기 좀 더 밝게 만들고 싶고 이런 경우도 있어요. 그러니까 예를 들면 지금 이 씬 같은 경우에는 이쪽 같은 경우가 약간 조금만 더 라이팅 재질로 바뀌면은 조금 더 씬의 퀄리티를 높일 수 있을 것 같다는 생각이 들거든요. 그래서 새로 추가된 PBR 같은 경우에는 매터리얼 자체에서 발광할 수 있는 기능을 내장을 하고 있습니다. 그러니까 PBR 써보신 분들은 이미 다 아실 텐데 이 알베도라는 것을 이용해서 오브젝트의 기본적인 컬러를 변경할 수가 있고 스펙‌큘러를 이용하면 오브젝트가 반사되는 반짝이는 재질 같은 것들을 컨트롤할 수가 있습니다. 그리고 되게 이번 보여드리는 중요한 것 중에 하나 이 에미션이라는 것을 조절하면은 오브젝트들이 실제로 발광 효과를 내게 돼요. 오브젝트들이 실제로 발광 효과를 내게 되기 때문에 여러분들이 씬 안에 라이트 세팅만으로 씬을 완벽하게 이렇게 내가 구성한 대로 만들고 싶기 어렵다라고 생각을 하면은 이렇게 매터리얼을 만든 다음에 그 매터리얼 에미션 값을 조절함으로써 여러분들이 씬 안에 굉장히 풍성한 라이팅 값을 얻을 수 있을 것이라고 생각이 듭니다. 굉장히 제가 말이 빠른 것 같은데 천천히 신호가 저쪽에서 오는 것 같아서 네. 어찌되었건 이 에미션 값을 조절했을 때 리플렉션 프로브들에도 반영이 돼요. 그래서 지금 제가 이렇게 하는 동안에 이 아래쪽 화면을 보시면은 리플렉션 프로브가 베이킹 되고 있는 것을 느끼실 수가 있을 겁니다. 그래서 지금 이런 것들이 다 지금 여기에 있는 리퍼블리크에 지금 적용이 되어 있다고 보시면 될 것 같고요. 리퍼블리크도 보시면은 이 안에 씬이 들어갔잖아. 썬라이트가 지금 연결이 안 되어 있는데 썬라이트를 연결해놓고 이런 것들을 다 지금 조절을 해야 되는데 어쨌건 나중에 보시면 아시겠지만 실제로 이것들은 이 데모 역시 여러분들이 유니티 FF에서 받을 수 있으시기 때문에 충분히 나중에 활용 가능하실 거라는 생각이 들고요. 그 다음으로 제가 하나를 또 보여드리면은 에미션 값을 하나 더 조절해서 발광체 하나 더 하죠. 이렇게 에미션 값을 살짝 조절하면은 저쪽에 보시면 아시겠지만 이렇게 라이트가 실제로 저 방 안에 비추는 현상을 만드는 거 보실 수가 있을 거예요. 그래서 이 라이트를 실제로 오브젝트인데 보시면은 제가 이걸 좀 더 조절 에미션을 조절할 때마다 주변에 라이트 프로브 같은 바뀌는 걸 보실 수가 있을 겁니다. 이게 실시간으로 베이킹이 되기 때문에 여러분들이 라이트를 이쪽에서 바꾸고 빌드를 하셨을 때 충분히 그 퍼포먼스가 날 수 있도록 세팅이 되어 있다는 게 윈티 5의 굉장히 큰 장점이고, 이걸 한번 제가 옮겨볼게요. 이거를 가지고 오면은 지금 당장에는 큰 차이가 없습니다. 왜냐면은 지금은 일단 옮겨놓기만 했고 밑에 보시면 베이킹 되고 있는 상태라는 걸 아실 수가 있습니다. 그래서 이렇게 베이킹이 되고 있는 동안에 잠시 윈티 5의 오디오 시스템 쪽으로 리퍼블릭에서 한번 보도록 하겠습니다. 리퍼블릭을 플레이 버튼 눌러볼게요. 5에 새로 추가된 기능 중에 하나가 있는 겁니다. 오디오 믹서를 제가 이쪽에다 옮겨보도록 하겠습니다. 이제 사실은 5로 넘어오면서 굉장히 좋은 점 중에 하나가 오디오 기능이 굉장히 많이 강화됐는데, 그 중에 가장 활용할 만한 소식은 이제 오디오 파일을 한꺼번에 여러 개를 선택해서 바꾸실 수가 있다는 점입니다. 우리 기존에 3D 사운드로 들어오잖아요, 유니티에서 사운드가. 근데 이제 그거를 하나씩 일일이 바꿔줬어야 되는데 이제 여러분들이 한꺼번에 편집을 할 수가 있게 되고, 여기 보시면 오디오 믹서에 보시면은 스냅샷이라는 개념으로 저희가 여러 가지 사운드들의 조합을 만들어 놓을 수가 있어요. 사운드들 조합 만들어 놓을 수가 있는데, 이거 리퍼블릭을 플레이 보시면은 지금 당장 이렇게 캐릭터가 뭐 이동하는 거 보실 수가 있는데, 그냥 지금 여기 보시면은 지금 인게임 사운드에 지금 포커스가 맞춰져 있는 거 보실 수가 있습니다. 인게임 사운드에 맞출 수가 있는데, ESC를 제가 안에 눌렀으면은 지금 이게 뭐 제가 그 화면 멈추면 아니라 ESC 눌러가지고 ESC 정지가 된 건데, 이런 식으로 제가 ESC를 누를 때마다 이 스냅샷이라는 게 바뀌는 거 보실 수가 있을 거예요. 그래서 여러분들이 그런 사운드 게임을 만들다 보면은 특정 사운드 컨트롤하는 컴포넌트를 미리 만드시는 경우가 있거든요. 근데 이제 그런 사운드 시스템을 저희 오디오 믹서라는 이런 개념을 이용해서 미리 어느 씬에서는 어떤 사운드들이 많이 나와야 될 것 같고, 어느 씬에서는 어떤 사운드가 나와야 될 것 같다는 것들을 미리 스냅샷으로 다 세팅해 준 다음에 코드에서 어떤 키가 눌렀을 때 어떤 스냅샷을 불러와라는 코드를 한 줄만 써주시면 충분히 여러분들이 원하는 식으로 사운드를 컨트롤하실 수가 있을 거예요. 그리고 여기서 이쯤 돼서 베이킹이 다 됐는지 한번 체크를 해볼게요. 자, 아직도 베이킹이 되고 있어서 리퍼블릭으로 돌아가 보시면 여기에 들어가는 캐릭터가 아까 라이언이 말했던 것처럼 메카닉을 사용을 하고 있습니다. 메카닉 스테이트 버전을 사용을 하고 있는데, 보시면 이제 유니티가 5로 넘어오면서 메카닉 개념이 약간은 더 좋아졌어요. 그러니까 기존 메카닉 같은 경우에는 스테이트 머신이라고 하기에는 약간 부족한 그냥 애니메이션들의 연결고리였습니다. 애니메이션들의 연결고리. 이 애니메이션이 끝나면은 그냥 다음 애니메이션으로 넘어가고, 이 애니메이션이 끝나면 다음 애니메이션으로 넘어가는데, 이 시스템의 문제가 뭐냐면은 애니메이션이 엄청나게 많아질 경우에 여기 거의 거미줄이 됩니다. 거미줄. 그러니까 거미줄을 쫙 치고 개발자조차 스테이트가 어디서 어디로 흘러가는지 파악할 수 없게 되는 경우가 있는데, 유니티 5로 넘어오면서 이제 그런 것들이 많이 사라졌어요. 서브 스테이트 머신을 굉장히 쉽게 활용할 수가 있게 되었고, 그래서 여기 들어가시면은 각각의 스테이트에서 여기 베이스 레이어는 기본적으로 최상단에 있는 최고 레이어들을 이제 말하게 되고요. 이 안에 있는 서브 스테이트 머신으로 들어가게 되면은 그 안에 또 각각의 애니메이션들을 편집할 수가 있으면서 들어올 때는 어떤 조건으로 들어오는지, 들어올 때 조건 값에 따라서 어떤 애니메이션을 제작해요. 여기 보시면 뭐 강남 스타일이라고 적혀 있는데, 사실 이거 플레이에 따라 무슨 일이 벌어질지 몰라서 지금 플레이를 못하겠고 사단이 좀 날 것 같아서, 어쨌든 그래서 이런 식으로 스테이트를 굉장히 깔끔하게 관리할 수 있고, 여기서 만약에 애니메이션 끝났다 라고 치면 다시 베이스 레이어로 돌아가서 머신이 다음으로 가야 되는 행보를 알려주기 때문에 이런 식으로 메카닉을 관리하기 굉장히 편해졌다는 점을 기억을 해주시면 될 것 같습니다. 그래서 다시 여기 돌아가볼게요. 가보시면은 베이킹이 다 됐죠. 사실 저 초록색 오브젝트가 실제로 이 방 안에다가 전체적으로 비추는 글로벌 일루미네이션을 만든 거고요. 저렇게 적용된 글로벌 일루미네이션 효과가 제가 지금 입이 닳고 침이 마르도록 말씀드리는 게 다 베이크 된다는 점을 생각을 하시면은 여러분들이 퍼포먼스 걱정하지 않고 충분히 고퀄리티의 게임을 만들 수 있다고 설명을 드릴 수 있을 것 같습니다. 네, 일단 제가 준비한 기술 데모는 여기까지고요. 네, 다 들어주셔서 굉장히 감사합니다. 그런데 이게 사실은 좀 오신 분들한테 좀 당부적으로 드리고 제 말을 좀 드리려고 했는데, 이런데 여러분들이 박수로 쳐주셔서 굉장히 감사하고요. 사실은 이런 게 있어요. 저 같은 경우도 페이스북 약간 중독자거든요. 그래서 요즘에 같은 경우는 기술 컨퍼런스 같은 경우를 갈 필요가 있냐라는 의견들이 굉장히 많아요. 왜냐면 기술 컨퍼런스를 가지 않아도 인터넷에 굉장히 많은 자료들이 있고, 구글링을 조금만 해보면 저희가 발표한 자료를 충분히 똑같이 볼 수가 있어요. 분명히 제가 오늘 여기 시험하고 어딘가에서 영상을 떠돌 수 있을 거예요. 근데 그럼에도 불구하고 제가 꼭 기술 컨퍼런스 같은 게 의미가 있다고 말씀을 드리고 싶은 거는 저희가 사실은 요즘 같은 시대에는 노래를 듣기가 되게 쉽잖아요. 뭐 MP3를 이용해서 들을 수도 있고 텔레비전에 뭐 엠넷만 키다가도 노래를 충분히 나올 수 있는데 그럼에도 불구하고 사람들이 많이 콘서트장에 가는 걸 알 수가 있을 거예요. 콘서트장에 가서 그런 직접적으로 그런 뮤지션들한테 노래를 듣는다는 게 의미가 굉장히 있는 일이거든요. 그러니까 그냥 단순하게 노래를 듣는다기보다는 그 노래를 만드는 개발자라고 할 수가 있죠. 그 개발자의 직접적인 만남을 통해서 몸으로 그 사람의 그런 기운을 습득한다고 할 수가 있는데 제 생각에 기술 컨퍼런스 역시 그런 개념으로 봤을 때 특히 유나이트 같은 경우에는 유니티 개발자들을 위한 콘서트라고 할 수 있지 않을까 싶습니다. 사실 여러분들이 노래를 배우기 위해 콘서트장에 가지 않잖아요. 노래를 듣고 즐기기 위해서 콘서트장에 가는 거기 때문에 유나이트라는 행사 역시 여러분들이 딱 기술적인 지식을 전달받기 위해서만 오셨다고 생각하지 마시고 여기 오셔서 많은 개발자분들이랑 인터뷰 하시고 세션이 끝나고 나면 그 사람한테 가서 직접 질문도 해보시고 하면서 좀 더 배운다기보다는 좀 즐긴다는 개념을 가지고 유나이트라는 행사를 즐겨주시면 굉장히 감사할 것 같습니다. 네, 말이 되게 길었죠. 저는 일단 여기까지 마치고 다시 저희 CEO 헬가슨 모시도록 하겠습니다. 들어주셔서 감사합니다.
It's really cool. Hey, thank you so much, Ryan, for sharing that. Thanks for the demo, Gokwa. There's also a session at 4 p.m. today where Ryan will be talking more about the production and actually the whole session going into more depth. Let's see if I can get this back to my computer.
노트북.
Can we get the deck back? Cool, thanks. So, that's great. The second sort of area I want to mention is just the richness of features and the flexibility of the editor. Of course, Unity has a long history of being incredibly flexible and having a very broad set of features. So we continue with that. So in Unity 5, there's some really nice things. One is that we finally have a 64-bit editor. I know that's been a real challenge for people building really big games like Republic, and now that's possible. We can have basically unlimited large data sets in Unity. The physics have been upgraded to PhysX 3.3, which is amazing. Way faster, more robust in some ways. There's a few extra features that we're adding to make more things possible. There's animation. The animation system has been improved a lot. The audio tools that we saw earlier are just incredible. It's basically the first time in the game history that, like in an engine without a lot of complicated workflow and pipeline setups, audio designers can be truly productive inside the team. Which really goes back to the heart, the sort of original idea of Unity that we wanted the whole team to be able to work together around the tool and have Unity as a kind of a common language amongst them. And I think with the audio system, we've really achieved that. There's tons more. Of course, many of you are using Unity 5 already, so you'll know. And of course, you can read on the website and get a lot more detail here. We're very proud of this. Now, the really big thing that is sort of easy to overlook when you're just looking at the editor and the features is the multi-platformness and how radical a change that is from before. We see people, with 2, 3, 4 people in the team targeting 8 platforms, including console platforms. And if you go back just say 5 years in the games industry, even a 40-person team would not try that. It would be insane. But with Unity, it's not just possible, it's actually quite smooth. Everything takes work, but it's work that is sane. You go to the new device, you optimize for it, you test on it, you test your controls, and often you're just done by that. We have 21 supported platforms already, which is crazy, and has really required us to rethink kind of the whole build process over the last few years. And the build process is now up to this incredible level where we're doing weekly releases, patch releases, so basically from a bug report to a bug fix to getting the fixes back to you. Instead of it being months, we're down to weeks or even just days. It's a different world now, and we're very proud of that. We're continuing on this. Of course, in Unity 5, the big new platform for us was WebGL. We had it in preview for a while, but now it's really part of the product. There's some amazing games that are being made with WebGL, but also, maybe as important, people are building demos, building kind of levels from their games, even mobile games, and putting them in the browser for people to test out as kind of a lead gen, as a way to find customers. WebGL, as many things in Unity, started as a hack week project. So a handful of people, during a week when we sort of allowed ourselves to experiment a lot, sat down and just made it work. And frankly, Unity is so portable at this time that making the original WebGL build was not that hard. And actually, we did a lot of that in 1 week. It just turned out that there was a major problem that was holding WebGL back from being truly awesome. And that was a mono runtime, the scripting system that Unity has, right? And it's actually for scripting systems, it's one of the fastest in the world, but it's a scripting system. It's a bit bulky, it uses memory, there's a big download footprint, and frankly, it's just slow compared to native code. So when we started on this WebGL path, we realized that we had to go on a much more complicated research project to create what we now call IL2CPP, which is it's almost impossible to overstate what an important step forward this is for Unity, and actually I think for sort of the whole game technology. It's dramatically faster than anything before. It basically takes your C# code and takes it to C++ in a very, very impressive pipeline. Something that took us a long, long time to get right, but now it's part of Unity 5. An example of how crazy it is. We took a performance test suite for C#. It's a ray tracer. The main reason is not because it's pretty, but because it exerts the CPU a lot, right? And we took this C# test suite and we ran it through Mono, the original runtime in Unity, and then we ran it through IL2CPP. And because IL2CPP is very good on 64-bit processors, we also ran it there. Right, so we took this test suite and ran it across these 3 setups. On Mono, it was taking 5.7 seconds. This is on an iPhone 6, so very comparable to any other ARM device. By the way, this Mono on ARM is considered fast. This is actually not bad. If you compare to this sort of JavaScript or other scripting languages, it's really fast. Then IL2CPP, and then on ARM64, it's 8 times faster, which completely redefines what you can put into scripting. It's wonderful. It also takes less memory, and then many good properties. Another example, we took something from the asset store, a pathfinding system that is popular, and we put it to simulate a number of agents. Again, just on a phone. Here's without the IL2CPP, here it is with. First we start with 2 agents, then we start putting extra agents in. Oh, yeah, there we go. The computers. So we add more and more agents, and without IL2CPP, you see the frame rate dropping to, from fine to not so fine. 21 frames with 1,000 agents being simulated. It's a big simulation. We're down to 15 frames per second, which is not really useful for games. But with IL2CPP, with 1,000 agents, it's running at 40 frames per second, leaving quite a lot of time to do other stuff. So it's just amazing. And IL2CPP is now on WebGL, it's on iOS, and we're taking it to more platforms. The next frontier is consoles, but of course the intention is to bring it everywhere where it can possibly work. It's really cool. The multi-platform sort of exploration for us continues. This commitment to making Unity be able to work for you anywhere you want to go is still going on. We announced just now, yesterday, a couple of days ago, that we're supporting the new 3DS. So you can basically take, again, what you've already done, bring it to the 3DS. It's being tested right now. It'll be in beta this summer, and it's another exciting platform that has actually a very large number of units and a lot of purchases of software. So something to explore. Something else we're excited about, and you know, Palmer Lucky we're so lucky to have Palmer Lucky from Oculus with us. He's going to do a keynote tomorrow in the morning. So he'll talk more about Unity and Oculus and VR. So I won't go into it here. I'll just leave it to say that we're super excited about the platform. We're really committed to it. We're putting a lot of energy into making Unity not just work for VR, but be fantastic for VR. And it's one of these things we're doing. We're going on these longer-term research projects now to go into the future and explore how game technology should work in the future. Because one of the things that we're really excited about is the fact that we've grown to a certain size where we have enough resources to do things like that. We're making a massive investment into R&D. You know, we're 300 developers and we're still hiring. We have core engineering, we have cloud engineering. We have these longer-term R&D projects where we can really go deep and work hard, like the L2CP project, which took a long time for us before we could roll it out. And finally, we're doing R&D with partners like Oculus, like Nintendo, like Samsung, where we go deep with them and work kind of on the future of their roadmap together with them. It's really exciting, and then the results are that we can really follow kind of you along and follow the industry along as we go forward. It's fantastic. Now the last bit I want to talk about that is really important in Unity 5 is the cloud. The cloud has several things that it can do for us, and there are several. The main things I want to focus on are cloud build, which I'll talk about now. Which, you know, you all experience this. You know, you're working and you got to do a build. Making a build of a big game can take, you know, a few minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, even half an hour or more. And it's just time out of your schedule, and you know, you're sort of waiting, you go make coffee, the coffee gets cold, it's very unenjoyable, it takes you out of the flow. And for larger teams, it's also a big pain, just because, you know, everyone is making builds, and the builds are different, and you never know exactly which build is the right one. You know, when you're submitting games to various marketplaces, Google Play, iOS, App Store, and so on, having the right build is just a hassle. So we created Cloud Build to kind of help with that. And it's awesome. It's been out of beta for 6 weeks, and we've done 280,000 builds for you, which is a lot of time. It's 150,000 hours of time saved for developers. Builds are always available, and it's really easy to kind of submit links, let people download builds, and so on. The way it works is pretty straightforward, right? So it's kind of a no-op build system. You're always submitting changes to your source control anyway. Unity Cloud Build recognizes that, makes the build, and gives you links to install and test your builds. So you basically never have to build again. You just work, and the builds are ready when they're ready, quickly. And it's just this incredible loop. Like I said, you can already get it. There's a free tier, which you always use. There's Pro if you want more builds, faster build times, Studio if you have a team, and Enterprise. You know, our large customers are also adopting Unity Cloud Build just because it sort of makes their whole process more sane and actually saves them from having to have full-time build engineers on staff, which is kind of a hassle. And you want your people to be producing games, not building infrastructure. It just saves a lot of time. It's very efficient. It's lovely. The other thing that we're doing, which is also very important, is Unity Ads. Right? And the games industry is always changing. It's always competitive, but especially in the last couple of years, and especially in the last year, it's getting brutally competitive. And many of you experience this. You know, customer acquisition is just prohibitively expensive. You know, only the games that have the highest revenue per user can really afford to buy users, right? And it's a super big pain because for small teams that build games that are not like that are not these high ARPU kind of heavily monetized games, you know, it's very challenging to go anywhere. The wonderful thing is, you know, this problem contains its own solution, right? Because if it's true that buying user traffic is so expensive, that means that guys like many of you who have high traffic, but not very much revenue, because your games are really fun, can actually go and make money from driving traffic to other people. And that's really what Unity Ads is about. We started only on this a year ago, but it's been going very, very well. I want to just tell you a few highlights. So this is all about helping developers make a living, so they can produce better games, they can survive to make new games, and allow themselves to be creative instead of having to worry about only revenue per user, building these big teams to do in-app purchasing and free-to-play mechanics, which are great for those who can do it, but they're very challenging. Right? It's used in over 15,000 games, which is pretty cool. 4 of the top 10 iOS games are using it. We get similar results on Android, and we'll hear about Korea in a bit. We now have a Korean support team, so if you want to work with us on this, we have a local team that can do that with you. And this is not a little thing. If you make games that are popular, that get a lot of plays, this is not a small revenue stream. This could be a really big revenue stream. So here's a small team out of Australia, 3 developers. Hipster Whale is the company name. They made Crossy Road. They got several million people playing it. It's a totally free game. You don't have to pay anything. There's really no sort of need for in-app purchasing. But it's an enjoyable game. It's addictive, so a lot of people played it. So they use Unity ads, and they made, this is pretty crazy, in 3 months they made 3 billion won for themselves. With 3 people, that means they have years of game development ahead of them. They're completely free now to do almost anything they want. It's really wonderful. And like I mentioned, we have Yonho Ham, who is here. I actually just want to introduce him to you, because I want to make sure that you know who to talk to if you want to work with us on ads. So Yonho.
안녕하십니까. 유니티 에지 한국 사업을 담당하고 있는 함영호라고 합니다. 저희 유니티 에지가 유니티의 가족이 된 게 한 1년 조금 넘는데요. 작년에도 제가 여기에 서서 여러분께 유니티 에지를 한국에서 시작한다고 말씀을 드렸었는데 1년 동안 여러 시행착오가 있고 그런 와중에 저희가 작년 11월부터 본격적으로 이제 사업을 시작해서 최근에 아까 보셨던 크로시로드라는 글로벌 사례가 나왔는데 사실은 그 외에도 여기 보시는 것처럼 여기 빨간색 그 사업청에 들어가 있는 것들이 지금 한국에서 그 글로벌 플레이 마켓이죠. 거기에서 이제 유니티 에지를 탑재한 상위 게임들에 해당됩니다. 그래서 이미 한국에서도 많은 그 게임 개발자들이 저희 유니티 에지를 사용해서 그 수익을 발생시키고 있고요. 그에 반대로 이제 저기 파란색은 저희 광고주로 참여하고 계신 분들인데 저희 광고를 이용해서 많은 유저들을 모으고 계십니다. 그래서 저기 보시는 숫자처럼 40% 이상이 지금 한국에서 일어나는 저희 매출의 40% 이상이 한국 개발자분들께서 일으켜주고 계시고요. 실제로 저희 광고들의 60% 이상이 한국 광고주분들께서 진행을 하고 계십니다. 그래서 지금 저희가 글로벌로도 지금 한 그 동영상 광고에서 1, 2위를 다투고 있는데요. 한국에서도 이미 의미 있는 한국 그 광고, 동영상 광고 네트워크로 자리를 잡고 있기 때문에 여러분들께서 혹시 수익화라든가 그런 부분에서 고민이 있다거나 그러시면은 언제든 저희 유니티 에지에 대해서 좀 관심을 가져주셨으면 좋겠고요. 저희가 오늘 이 자리에서 이따 3시에 유니티 에지 세션이 있으니까는 그때 저희가 간단한 저희 사례랑 저희 탑재 방법 등에 대해서 이야기를 드릴 예정입니다. 그때 방문하셔서 좀 강의 들어주셨으면 감사하겠고요. 바로 저기 문 앞으로 나가시면 저희 부스도 있으니까 궁금한 점 있으시면 언제든 오셔서 저희한테 질문해 주시면 고맙겠습니다. 여기 찾아와 주셔서 많이 감사드리고요. 많이 저희 유니티 에지 관심 가져주시길 바라겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Remember to go to the session. It's a great place to learn more about this. Obviously, this is a short version you're getting here. So anyway, this is kind of a short version of what we've been working on the last year. Besides that, a few other things happened. For instance, I'm no longer the CEO of the company. We hired a new CEO. But it's all kind of part of the commitment to make Unity better and better. So we got a guy who was very experienced to run complex companies. And me and the rest of the exec team and the rest of the team are working with him and together to keep Unity rolling as something that is not just good, but will be truly, truly amazing for the very long haul. Now this is all about us. We are your biggest fans because you're the people who actually make the games that make Unity sing. So I just want to show you a reel of some of the favorite things we've seen in the last year at the end here. So this is beautiful stuff that many of you have been working on. Two kind of fully loaded Unity Pro licenses with iOS and Android Pro, and all the Pro tier services, so analytics, performance monitoring, and cloud build. Do we have the numbers? Let's see. So number 68 and number 72. You're good. If you're not here, you lose your license. 68, 72. Oh, come on up. Congratulations.
So with that, I just want to welcome you to Unite 2015 in Seoul, and enjoy the next 2 days, and I will see you around. Thank you so much for coming.